today I'm sitting with two incredible, dynamic gentlemen today talking with Alpha. And I want to get from their perspective how they've branched out into the industry as wonderful men. So, introduce yourselves.
Okay, my name's Ronald, Ndoro. I'm from the UK. I'm out here in Atlanta, here for Alpha Magazine, and glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
For sure, for sure.
My name is Maurice Stinnett, and I'm from Springfield, Ohio. Ohio player, baby. But anyway, but out here in Atlanta, and grateful for the opportunity to do this.
Okay, so I have the pleasure of working with the both of them very closely and learning a lot of things, but I want to know more.
Okay.
So, with both of you you come from the UK, you come from the US. How did you guys meet?
Ronald, why don't you tell me?
It's a good question. So we both got an invite to a conference here in Atlanta, actually. We met on the first day. In fact, the day before the first day of the conference,
Right. Within the first 30 minutes.
Yeah, within the first minutes of arriving, we started talking. Maurice said to me, he worked at the NBA, and I was like, "Oh, funny story. I know someone that used to work at the NBA. Do you know them?" So I say, shout out to Yao. I say, "Do you know a guy called Yao Williams?" And he goes, "No." And I go, "Yeah." And he goes,
Take a picture.
"That's
Take a
my
picture.
cousin."
Yeah.
He goes, "That's my cousin." I was like, "What in the world? That's crazy," because that's such a small world, right? So then we took a picture, we sent it to Yao. I was like, "What are you guys doing together? Why am I not invited? What's going on?" And then we just started talking, we started vibing from there. We just spent a lot of time together. And then we decided we're going to do this podcast together. So, and that's what we're doing. That's why I'm in Atlanta. We're shooting a podcast and we're kind of building off that.
Okay. So, with you both having such interesting personalities and strong at that, how does that work at this point?
We're figuring that out.
That is the true and honest answer.
It's a work in progress.
It's a very good question though, but I think
in progress.
I think we talked about this earlier actually on the podcast, that I think when you have two people who are, I guess, quite dominant in their own spaces, but also are mature enough, the key is the ability to have effective communication, the ability to kind of talk through a problem and go, "You know what, I see it this way. Okay, I understand you see it that way. Okay, there's a difference of opinion, but then how do we keep it moving forward? So how do we keep the journey going and how do we keep building the layers?" And you kind of, and you work through, because I think ultimately that is everything that you need to do in life to keep it moving forward.
Okay, so based on how you guys met and you stating that he worked in MBA
Yes.
field, what
Yes.
industry did you come from?
Well, I work in hospitality. I've been in hospitality for the last 20, 25 years. I've owned private members clubs in London, in South Africa. I was actually on my way to open one in New York before the pandemic. And then I moved to Antigua, where I own a beach club. Now I own this company called Haus, which is, again, another membership club. But this time it's travel across the Caribbean. We provide accommodation, luxury accommodation for people. But yeah.
Okay. Are you expounding on that together soon, or?
We are building a lot of different things. We're working on a lot of things. So one of the things we're working on, so we've got this podcast that we're literally launching. So by the time you see this, the podcast will exist. And as a part of the podcast, we're going to be hosting retreats, right?
Yeah. So the retreats are more so about an opportunity. That's kind of my wheelhouse, right?
Yeah.
In really personal development, leadership development, and figuring out how to become the best version of yourself. And so as a result of that, I think the partnership made sense, right? And I used to work in the NBA, but I don't work in the NBA now. I clarify that. I don't do that and pivoted out of there and went into the music industry. And I don't do either one now. So I do what I want to do. Thankfully, I'm able to do that. But the point is, I think the relationship, speaking about that, the opportunity to travel with him and to work with him, traveling down this road together, it just made sense. It was a marriage that made sense. But in any good marriage, and all marriages, you got to find your rhythm.
Yes.
And our honeymoon phase has passed. and we are looking for the rhythm.
Okay. So, the fact that you guys are such powerhouses as men, coming into yourself, how did you find out which industry you wanted to partake in? Like, what was that pivotal moment that stated, like, this is where I want to go. This is where I belong. Or what felt like success for you when you got to that point?
I'll take that first.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I'll say that I didn't have a direct path growing up to the MBA or the music industry, being a C-suite executive. I did not have that in my mind, actually. I wanted to be a president of a university. So I went the academic route, right? That was my aspiration because education personally changed my life. Like growing up in poverty, single-parent home, it was education that was a pathway out. And so because of that, I went on to become, again, a professor, a dean of a university, and ultimately a vice president of a university. So I thought next step, by the time I was going to be 35, I'll be a president of a university, right? And so it just so happened the world was changing, the landscape was changing, and this little thing called DEI started popping off. It was a dirty word today. It used to be. And there was opportunity within the league, the NBA, to work in that enterprise, working the work of DEI. And then, of course, 2020 happened, George Floyd, and all the things, and the music industry called. And so I didn't have that on my radar. It had me on its radar, right? And so it called me to that. But who knows, long term I may circle back around to do the work of education, become a president. That might be my old man game, who knows?
Right.
But the point you asked, the second part, was about success. When did I know? I would say for me, success was when I was able to pick up the telephone. It's very true. I don't think I'll ever achieve this sense or feeling of success like I did when I signed my contract with Warner Music Group, and I was able to call my grandmother and my mother, and I was able to tell my grandmother, you will never have to work again.
Yeah.
And to hear that beautiful black woman who was strong and fierce and loving and kind, and to hear her, who never showed any emotion, break on the phone, there will be nothing that compares to that moment for me. That
Ever
was
again.
success. Because what I heard in her voice, in my mother's voice, and my mother was much more expressive than my grandmother, but what I heard in both of them was relief. As black women, there was a sense of relief. And that gave me so much pride and joy to be a part of that. So that was success for me.
That was powerful.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you follow up with that from now?
I don't know. I mean, well, look. So it feels like obviously Maurice's path was very, academic, educational, purposeful. So DEI as well, obviously. Mine was maybe the opposite. So mine was fun, right? So I mean, I come from a traditional, I guess, African background. My mother very much wanted me to be a lawyer, so I went to law school, studied law, got my degrees. Got a job with one of the world's largest law firms, lasted 3 months. But what had happened was, when I was a lot younger, I think this entrepreneurial spirit I've always had. So I remember I was 15, at boarding school, we threw a party, at someone's house. But we charged everyone, £5 dollars, and we made money. So when I was 15, I made maybe $5,000. Because we had a party for maybe 200-300 kids, but because you're young and, it was this big house, everyone tells everyone. So we ended up with 1,000 kids turning up and everyone paying $5 to come in, and we're selling alcohol, which is obviously extremely illegal. But we broke in, and obviously no one should tell anyone this, but we broke into our school.
Here we are. He's not a straight.
There was 5 of us. We broke in to our printing room at school, because I was at boarding school. So we broke in at night and we printed flyers. But you know what the craziest thing is? While we were in there, we saw all the exam sheets or whatever. We didn't sell any, So I'm gonna say we had some level of integrity. We didn't. We thought about it, but we did not. So anyway, so what my point is, we had this party. I made a ton of money at 15, 16, and then we just kind of carried on. So by the time I was at university, I was doing multiple things. The path had grown. By the time I got a job at Slaughter and May, and I was working out what my hourly rate was, I was I make this on a Saturday night, and this is what I'm getting at work, which is absolutely crazy. So I quit, which really upset my mother because I think literally up until maybe, I want to say 5 years ago, maybe a little long, she would tell everyone that her son's a lawyer, right? And I was like, and I had quit like 20 years earlier, right? So, but she would tell everyone she met, oh, my son's a lawyer. My son's a lawyer. I'm like, Mum, you know, I do something else, right? But she also didn't understand what I did. So I went into the world of like events, promotions, venues, etc. So before I owned venues, I used to promote in them, right? So, but I did concerts for, you know, like I did Jay-Z's last ever concert in London, but it wasn't really his last concert because obviously he unretired after that. But remember, like the big announcement, he's retiring. Yeah. So we did all of that. You know, but worked with like a lot of people, a lot of celebrities, a lot of, you know, musicians, artists, a lot of shows as well. Moved into cabaret, brought like Crazy Horse from Paris, which is like the longest running cabaret show in the world, from Paris to London. And then I moved into venue ownership. So like I said, slightly different, a little bit more fun. But I've always done.
Nobody said I didn't have any fun.
No, that's
not. It's not competition, man. It's just clarity. It's not competition, it's clarity. You know what I mean? So we need to make sure we're clear about it. Yeah, get the story
Let's set
straight.
the record straight. I still have fun.
Just because I went to Princeton and Columbia became a doctor and went on to do my thing, didn't mean we didn't know how to have fun. We weren't breaking in damn places and printing off shit and all that kind of stuff.
Getting to know you, it's like I would never ever think that you did anything like that. I would think he would have did it first.
Oh, really?
What are you talking about, me?
Well,
what is happening?
I'm just joking.
Right. So yeah, so that was the answer though.
Okay, so if you could, I want to say compare, but if you could say anybody in your industries or anybody in the world that you could say that would emulate or be who you thought you wanted to be in your 20-somethings or who you are now, who would you compare yourself to? Anybody in the industry, big, little, small, anybody in your family, name it, and why?
So, I mean, I'll go first if you don't mind. So I think for me, and it's really random because, you know, it's not even in a... So there's a guy called Nick Jones who started Soho House. You know, before it became the massive thing that it is now. But I think when, like I love the beauty of an idea. So when you look at something and you see how it works, you see how it functions, you see the potential of the thing and you see it grow. So you can see what it's going to become before it becomes it. So what he created with Soho House is something that I saw. So obviously I evolved from being the nightclub promoter and being out at night to being the guy who sets up venues, owns venues, runs venues. And my model really was to emulate what he had done, right? But to do it on my terms, you know, on my scale. And I think even up till this point, it's what I'm still trying to do. But I think I saw what he did, and I genuinely think and believe, even though there's no evidence of this yet, that I can do the exact same thing but bigger and better. That is my thought. So I think he spurred my thought process unintentionally into the path that I'm on now.
Okay.
I don't have an individual that I can point to and say that person, but I would say people who have enjoyed a sense of freedom in doing what they loved. That's what I aspired to. So it wasn't a person per se. It's many people I've seen throughout my life that they seem to have a sense of freedom and financial security in doing what they love. And I thought, that's the life I want to live. I want to enjoy what I'm doing, the financial freedom to take care of my family, and it's a sense of purpose and passion. So I don't have a person in mind. I'm still searching for that, and maybe that's the only person I see in the mirror. But as far as in general, it's the freedom and the resources to do what I want to do.
Okay. So far, I'm hearing that you both, basically, whatever your paths chose you. You picked where you wanted to go, and they chose you.
It's true. Yeah.
And working as men and men of color, was there any cultural connectivity issues as far as blending in or like being like, not the outcast, I would say per se, but basically stating like, okay, I'm in this room with these other people, you know, around you. did you ever feel like you were out of place, or did you feel like you wanted to fit in more, or did you just, I'm me? Like, how was that moving through all these rooms?
I'll answer that one first.
Yeah.
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And yes, the first time I felt like that is actually when I went to Princeton. And I felt like a fish out of water. Studying at Princeton Theological Seminary Divinity, getting a master's in divinity, studying over at Princeton University with sociology of religion, encountering, first of all, being an extreme minority on that campus, number one. You didn't have many black folks there. But number two, the black folks that were there were not like me. Didn't come from backgrounds like me.
Yeah.
And so these were black folks that their parents were well-to-do. They were the Jack and Jill kids. They had parents in the links, and they had pedigree and agency and business owners and multimillionaires. And so I felt like a fish out of water, not only culturally, meaning cross-culturally, but interculturally, because they were black, but I still was different. My mama didn't graduate from high school. And so, but I will say, one gentleman while I was there, well, two, I'll give credit to two people. The first guy said to me, he was one of the graduate students, and he was helping us who were entering in that space, and he was a PhD student. And he said, Maurice, just because someone knows more than you doesn't mean they're smarter than you. And once they reveal to you what they know, guess what? You now know it too. All right? And coupled with what you know is more. The other thing, a young lady told me that she was another PhD student. She says to me one day, sitting at lunch, she could tell I was feeling this anxiety about being in this space. And she said, I need you to remember you are enough. Everything that you bring to this space is enough to navigate, to dominate, and
be in this
space.
space.
To be in this place. And so I went on to do that. I went on to become the president of student body. I went on to work with Obama as a result of that, and the World Leadership Program, chairman of that. I went on to be who I was called to be because I was enough, and all the skills that I had and everything I brought to bear in that space was more than enough to be everything that I need to be. But I did feel that sense in the beginning until I was affirmed in that way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I think everyone goes through feelings of imposter syndrome, right? That's what it's called. So you don't belong. But I think there's different reasons for that, and I think that feeling is compounded when you are off color. And you're the only one in the room as well. So just by being in the room immediately, I think you're thinking, should I be in the room? And I think my situation was slightly different. I think like race relations in the UK and the US are slightly different. I think here it can be a lot more overt. I think in the UK it's there, but it can be a lot more subtle. So I think because I was always a business owner, and like I would be the black person leading a team of white people, right? And it was always, I think, an interesting thought, because when certain things happened, it would always cross my mind. Like there'd be a little flicker going, would that have happened had I been white, right? Or is it happening because I'm black? So, and you don't always know the answer, because it's not always about race. I mean, personality is a factor, like we're all people, so it might have happened, might not have happened, but I have a really funny story though, because one of my friends, when I got married, white guy, really good friend, he came to the resort where we got married, and I had lots of other people of other colors, whatever, staying at the resort. They would stop, this resort would stop my friends who were staying at the resort, and this guy was not staying at the resort, right? He chose to stay in like a little hotel somewhere that was a lot cheaper. He got himself a little scooter, but he's tall, he's white, he's blonde, he's got blue eyes, whatever, he's a good looking guy. He would turn up, we'd be sitting at the pool, they'd be serving him afternoon tea, whatever, and then checking to see if we were staying at the resort. I'm like, I'm paying to be here. This guy, this friend of mine, is walking in and so what I'm saying, so when you have experiences like that, right, and then you kind of put them in the context of, when people respond to you in a particular way, then you question that response, because you've seen like what it looks like on the other side, right? You've seen how someone has got preferential treatment because of how they look. So it's interesting, but it's really hard to know the definitive answer in terms of whether it is racism or whether it is just the situation that you're in.
For me to know it's racism.
Yeah, because it's overt. Do you know what I mean? So it's a little bit different.
Yeah, it's a little different, and I love that. And I'll add to this too in the corporate space. I gave when I was younger, but I will say that experience at Princeton conditioned a muscle in me so that when I was entering into the corporate space as the only black person in the C-suite at these major corporations, I had my confidence intact.
Yeah.
Right? I knew who I was, and I knew I was actually 5 times smarter than most of these people in here. I had done way more than what they had done to achieve this actual position, right? And so my confidence was unshakable at that point.
Yeah.
And actually very much so to the chagrin of some of the white folks, most of the white folks I work with.
Yeah.
Let's just put that out there. And so you still have to be confident in yourself, even when your confidence offends insecure people. And you got to maintain that. And so I was very fierce about maintaining my confidence, even though that might have disrupted your insecurity. That's not my issue. We all got to go do therapy on ourselves and do the work. So that I did experience that, but at that juncture, when I was in corporate settings, it didn't bother me anymore.
And I think that's very much the point. I think confidence, but you earn confidence, right? You have to like.
Is it more so cultivated?
Like I said, you got to cultivate it, and you've got to build that muscle. So you've got to know that deep down that you deserve to be in the space that you're in. In fact, you don't just deserve to be in that; you deserve to thrive in that space because you've done the work and you deserve to be in that space. And a lot of people exist in the same spaces but have not done the work,
Most of them.
which becomes the most frustrating thing in the world because now you can see it because you're going,
Just
I
like
know
the
you're
white guy,
here.
just like the white guy.
Yeah,
He's
literally, he did
yeah,
zero work. He was.
You all are
He's just
paying.
there.
He did zero work.
Yeah,
exactly.
and he's getting the
He's
benefits, right?
Exactly. That's my point.
So, yeah.
Okay. So that was loaded gun.
I
love that.
I didn't
I
fire.
love
I didn't fire
I
off.
love
I kept it cool. Yeah.
No face, no case. Okay.
Yeah.
So you spoke on your marriage.
Yes.
And both of you, like relationship wise, with if you have children, or how did you navigate romantic relationships being so driven and career focused?
Let's say with great difficulty.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
I
I
think
just didn't manage him at all. It wasn't very difficult. I did do. I don't have any children. He'll get back to mine. Is real short. I don't have any children.
Okay.
I've never been married, and so we just had to figure it out, And so I dated quite a bit. It's been great, but I was never more committed to that relationship in the sense that it was going to be the priority.
Okay.
Versus what I was pursuing in my career. So I've never had to make those types of
I got a
sacrifices.
loaded question for you once we're done.
okay.
I was committed to the people, though. Let me say that. let me clean that shit up. I just thought about that.
Clean the face
I was
part
committed
really
to you,
quick.
baby. Whoever it was in my past, I was
part.
committed
Let
to
me
you.
clean
But
it.
I'm saying it was not more of a commitment to my career and education. So
That's kinda
moving
hurtful,
on.
though.
No, it wasn't because I was honest about that up front. So
I love that
yeah.
though. I love that though. Don't trade yourself, what you want for yourself for another,
And I had wonderful experiences along the way that supported me, and I supported them. So it was great.
Yeah.
That's the end of that announcement.
Okay.
So I was married, recently divorced. I've got children who are amazing and literally the only reason why I do anything. So they are absolutely amazing.
That was going to be my next question. Like,
Yeah.
what was your why? Like, why did you?
I mean, so prior to having children, I think I've just been ambitious and driven. And I think getting married, having children was obviously one of the objectives of pushing forward constantly, daily. Obviously, the relationship didn't work out for lots of reasons, or maybe one, but
I didn't know that was the appropriate place to laugh.
no, but
I'm thinking, yeah, you. That's what I was thinking.
Let me hold your knee when I say that. No pun intended.
no.
No pun intended.
It's all good. It's all good. Look, I think in any relationship, it always takes two people. I don't think the blame is ever at one person's table. I think it takes two people to tango, as the saying says. So, whether someone's a catalyst or not a catalyst, I think there are reasons as to why you end up where you end up. Or sometimes you just choose wrong, right? Like that also happens. That also happens.
Sure.
So, but I think everything in life ends, and I think sometimes we don't appreciate that enough, or give it the value that it deserves, because I think too often we get stuck in to holding on to things that we shouldn't necessarily hold on to. But I'm always grateful. So for the time that we were together, we were married for 10 years. And the time that we're together, it was beautiful. Like I enjoy being married. You know, and I feel like during that time, I was the best version of a husband that I could be, right? Like I don't think, like I reflect on my time as a husband, and I don't think that there are things that I sit here today and think, oh, I could have been better at this, and I could have been better at that. I think within the scope of who I am, I gave it my best shot, right? And obviously I apply the same logic to business and to everything else. So like all I can do is kind of turn up and try my best. And if that works, then amazing. If it doesn't, then, well, you know what, I tried. Like, I don't think you can ever do more than you're capable of doing, right? You can grow, you can learn more, you can become a better person, but that takes time. But in the time that you exist as you exist, like in the present moment, you can only do what is within your capacity to do. And if you're doing the most of that, then you're doing the most of that and you're good. Like, because you can't have regrets beyond that point because you did what you could do. You know, and I feel as a husband and father, I played my role, and I think I did, okay, my version, I think I did a good job, right? Because ultimately, I'm not the judge, right? So you know, the other side has to have a say, but I'm just saying I could not have tried harder. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay. So I have a question for you guys to answer about each other.
Okay. I mean, you're going to go back to him and ask him about...
Yeah. I mean, I have nothing. I have nothing.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Be another question for another time.
Okay.
But so now that you guys are getting to know each other, what would you say is his superpower and his strength? What would you say is your superpower, and his strength? Like you can name maybe 3 things or one that you see in each other. What would you give? What superpower would you say that each other has, and what strength would you say?
Ronald is a visionary. Ronald, it's easy. I know these things. I've thought about this. I mean, that's the only reason this thing.
And it's easy for me as well.
Ronald is a visionary. Beautiful mind. Ronald can see something so far down the line that I can't even see how we're going to get out of the door. Yeah. Oh. And Ronald sees the big picture. And I think that's beautiful. Not only is he a visionary, he's a collaborator. Ronald knows how to bring people together. And one thing I've noticed is Ronald is really good. I didn't know this until this week. Ronald is actually good under pressure. because I'm pressured. Yeah. I know that. I am pressured. And so I apply pressure. And so Ronald is still very level-headed and very calm and cool. And I mean, and I can come in hot. And he never, he can be a little, snipey back, but I'm hot. And I'm at high gear hot. And he's like, mate, we'll figure it out later. You know what I mean? And so I'm like, okay, he knows how to de-escalate. So I would say a visionary, a collaborator, and he's just a brilliant mind. And like I said, and good under pressure. That's the 3 things I would say I've noticed in the short term. Yeah.
So, I mean, like I said, this is really easy for me as well. I think he ended off with a brilliant mind. I'm going to start off with a brilliant mind. I think, Maurice has a beautiful and brilliant mind. So I like the way he processes the thought, the way he circles back, the way he kind of retains information, and then the way he kind of like probes, right? So he's kind of like probing, trying to figure it out. You can kind of see the analysis happening, which is an amazing thing. He's also a great communicator, orator. So the ability to kind of like conduct. I know you're conducting this interview, but he's great at like conducting and structuring a conversation and kind of like directing it down a certain path and trying to get to a point, right? To achieve a point, which I think is wonderful and great. And I think that's a skill set I don't have necessarily. So I think that's wonderful because it complements and we bounce off each other in that respect. I had one more, but I think I kind of got lost in my thought process.
Superpower and strength.
Yes.
So.
Yeah.
I was content with the 2, man.
Yeah. No, I have one more.
Because I had 3, baby.
Load me up.
I'm fine with the 2. I had 3. It's all good. We keep it moving. It's all good.
I'm trying to bring it back. I'm trying to remember it.
It ain't there.
That's cool. I'll come back to it. I'll come back to it. Yeah. No, but beautiful mind though.
Okay, that was perfect. I feel like watching you guys cultivate this relationship and brotherhood is so beautiful to me, and you complimenting each other so eloquently. I watched you guys since I've met you.
Thank you.
And it's been an honor to be in your presence.
Thank you.
I want you to expound on how important it is for men to have these conversations with each other, showing each other a little bit more gratitude, love, and support.
Absolutely.
Because partnerships, you gotta have.
I know
that
what it
inside
is.
So
So I was going to say,
superpower.
sorry, I'm going to go back to the superpower because I was like, this is really bothering me because I had 3
And
before
I
we
didn't write
started.
these questions out. I want y'all to know. I didn't write these questions out. This is out the.
No, so what Maurice is, he's a great cheerleader, right? He's a great kind of like, I've got you, what do you need? Let me support you, let me provide what you need. You're doing a great job, you look great. You know, like he's great at lifting people up. And when I say that, I don't just mean that about me. I mean like in general, like everyone around him, he's great at like, he's a great cheerleader, just making sure that everyone is pumped up, everyone's looked after, everyone's good. So yeah, so that was my third one. It just annoyed me that I lost it for a second, but yeah.
I appreciate it.
That's a good one though, right?
No, I love the first two. But I think what you said was what's essential to the soul are
Yes.
these types of relationships. And yes, being in a relationship with someone like Ronald has been rare for me in general.
Yeah.
And the older you get, the smaller your circle becomes.
Very
The
true.
more rigid you become in your ways, you don't really open your circle up. So this was to me a random and necessary
Breath of
blessing
fresh
in my
air.
life, right? That I discovered, yeah, you know what? This guy is going to press you to be a better version of yourself because you haven't been able to think in this way because no one has challenged you to think in this way. No one has pushed you in this way. And so these relationships are essential, and I think they happen at different phases and stages of our lives.
Absolutely.
And I think he's at the right time and the right place in my life to make me a better man in this next phase.
Appreciate that, brother.
Of course.
Thank you. But yeah. Are you waiting for me? I mean, I was literally gonna say ditto. I was gonna say ditto. Like that's the same thing. That's the same thing. I mean, look, I think the reason why we connected so quickly and the reason why we started this podcast, you know, for both of us was to learn, to grow, but also at the same time, I think like energy-wise, right? Like we match each other and we process thoughts in a similar way. We end up trying to ask the same question at the same time. So it's almost like who's going to jump in first to ask the question because we're we're thinking along the same thought process, which is really great.
Okay. So, with balancing that, what advice would you give men that are starting out that want to take the same path? Like, I'm hearing that this partnership is very necessary, and I did hear you say that things end, but I wanted to like piggyback off that and say sometimes it's just the beginning.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you have a new beginning. You might have. It's not a divorce. It's the beginning to something new.
Absolutely.
But what would you tell younger men that are in either of your industries or any industries on how to navigate in this world when it comes to trying to find their success?
Cultivate humility.
Yeah.
Cultivate humility. Humility is going to teach you to be open to things that you don't know about yourself, situations and settings. Cultivating humility will keep you open to learning and expanding and growing. It's when you don't practice humility that you have now decided that you don't want to grow and learn.
Yeah.
And I think that's the one thing I would tell every young person out there, every young man in particular, because there's a certain amount of humility that has to take place for me to say, I do need something that this man has.
Yeah.
Right? This other man has something in him that I can value from. That takes humility to say that, to acknowledge it, and to move like that. And humility is a superpower, man.
Absolutely.
That's a superpower.
Absolutely.
To be humble to say, I need you, brother. That's power.
Yeah.
Right? And I need to humble myself and say that and be open to that. So I would say humility is really essential for that growth for me.
Yeah. I would chime in and say, obviously I said earlier on that things do end, which is true, but I think the most important thing for me is to be able to live in the present and to make sure that while you're in the present, you're putting your best foot forward. You're trying as hard as you can, like you're not being headless for no reason. Because I think a lot of people get caught up in their emotions and in their feelings, but feelings are temporary, like they pass. Like you move from one state to another state constantly. So you need to be grounded in your present and try your best within that present And then if you're constantly learning and growing, then you get the thing we talked about earlier, which is confidence. And as you build your confidence, so it's almost like just taking step after step after step, right? So you got to live in your present, and cultivate your efforts, so just make sure that you're trying really hard within the space and time that you're in. And then as you build and grow, as you learn new things, you get better and better and better at whatever it is you're doing. I mean, it's funny, like I'll give you a perfect example. I think yesterday when we're doing the shot for the trailer, right? And obviously we started off and, because obviously I haven't done that in a really long time. I haven't been on camera in a long time. So you could tell that my confidence wasn't there, right? And then as we just kept repeating and, just went up and up and up and up and up. So you've just got to stay present and keep trying and, take notice, listen to everyone around you, right? And just because you're listening to everyone doesn't mean you have to do everything that everyone says to you, but you need to take that in and apply a filter and take what's good, keep what's good, and then dismiss the rest. But if you can do that, then you're growing every single day. And as long as you do that and stay grounded, you'll be good.
Okay. Both of your backgrounds are so different, like aesthetically, emotionally, family support system wise, and how people perceived you or your career paths and choices. What would you say, your mom wasn't as supportive or not support.
She was supportive, just not happy with my decision making.
She liked the title you had with that career path.
Yeah.
And your family, I could say they probably were super supportive of what you wanted to do.
My mother tells everybody she was happy that I graduated from high school. When I went to college and got an undergraduate degree, she said, "Boy, I thought you were finished." So yeah, I've always had really grateful and enthusiastic support. Yeah.
Okay. So I think I've asked a lot of questions.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we appreciate you.
And I have a lot more to ask, but I don't want to run your thing. Now, we've sat with these two amazing guys today, and I've learned so much more about them. Even though being around them, I kind of got a gist of what was, what was
happening,
down or whatever, And I got to see how they navigate. I think this is going to be a great partnership for you guys, and I'm honored, like I said, to be able to sit between you guys and take in all the knowledge. Thank you guys for tuning in to Alpha Talk. This is a great interview, and more life to you guys' podcast. I'm ready to see your episodes.
Thank you.
You're great too.
Yeah, absolutely, Justine. Yeah, no, of course. Yeah.
I appreciate you guys not giving me such a hard time, even though it's not my prom. All right.
Okay.
Talk to you guys soon.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.